Hello everybody, you have tuned in to Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos. So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see. Hello everybody, how you doing today? We're here today to talk a little bit more about, it's kind of echoey. We're here for my new studio. Unfortunately, it's barely finished. It doesn't have any furniture. Sorry about the echoiness. But anyway, here today to talk a little bit more about, I actually only have the light that spotlights on me right now. It spotlights on my little, command center research area here. Because that's all I really need at the moment to be able to make this video. So just kind of giving the computer and the setup and the connection a bit of a ride here. So anyways, let's talk about a little bit more about Tom Fassbender and Ken Kratz. Okay. As you guys may know, I did a video recently, and it was called, Brendan Dassey, and the Rotten Timeline, where I basically explain how, the investigation stalls. It stalls, and they're not finding any trace of Teresa anywhere in the trailer, garage, on the property. They're not anywhere except inside of the RAV4. So, like I said before in that video, that was a problem, and I'll leave that video in the link below, there in the information down below. But you can watch that one if you want. But what I wanted to add to that, even further add to that storyline there, of where they were basically desperate. Jody basically told them to kick rocks, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you guys anymore, to Fassbender and Wiegert, and that's when they targeted Brendan. And to further add to the level of desperation that Tom Fassbender and Mark Wiegert were really feeling, and probably the whole investigation basically was feeling, that they didn't have any trace of Teresa actually outside of the RAV4 somewhere on the Avery property, other than the bones that were found. But there was, if you remember, the FBI went ahead and said that they were Teresa's bones, but technically they didn't identify enough Loki to really say that. Their standard at the time was 14 Loki that you needed, and they only found 7 on that piece of flesh that they found on one of the bones. So, but because the FBI got involved, they made a determination and basically made the determination that it was Teresa's remains, and so we don't even really have that. Okay, we don't even have full-on DNA identification on the bones themselves. So the only place where it is in the RAV. The literal only place that they found the blood, and they knew that was going to be a problem. And that leads to the point where Sherry Culhane is testing the evidence, and she gets the email from Tom Fassbender where he basically is telling her, we need you to put Teresa Halbach somewhere in the trailer or the garage. Now, if you think I was BSing you, that they weren't finding anything in the trailer or in the garage or on the property there, and that it was a concern for them, believe it now, because Tom Fassbender sent her that email. Okay? You don't send that to the crime lab unless you're worried and you need something to appear in those places, right? So there's your indicator. They were worried. They did have concerns. So he actually tells her that, and you know what? Lo and behold, the very last item, the bullet FL, is, not just swabbed or anything like that. No, it's washed so that it was completely done. Nobody else could do anything with it. And lo and behold, we pull up Teresa and Sherry's DNA on it. So that's how fishy that is. And then they go ahead and they do whatever they have to do. The thing that they don't do 99.9% of the time, apparently. But this time, they needed that. They needed that so bad. I wonder how Teresa's DNA got on that bullet, really. Because I don't believe it started on that bullet. I truly don't. I don't believe that bullet. I don't believe that bullet was in the garage prior to the crack getting jackhammered. I don't believe that it definitely was not there when that happened, because it is clean. It has no dust on it. So, I mean, that bullet is magical in many ways. Many ways. So, yeah, don't even get me started on that bullet. It's ridiculous. So, then it's used up. Nobody else can use it. That's it. You know, and they go ahead and do that thing where they do the paperwork to override the protocol so that they can use it at trial. And so that just kind of further displays the kind of desperation that these investigators were experiencing, you know, in trying to bring this investigation and bring this conviction of Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey as it happens in March. And that's really what they're after, and it's and the fact that the things aren't showing up. I mean, that's what the thing I want to point out here is the fact that they are realizing that they don't have enough, that there's something they just don't have all the pieces, and they know, you know. So then we'll move on now. Okay, so that's what I wanted to add to that fact of the whole rotten timeline for Brendan, the whole rotten timeline of how these investigators were just desperate because they were missing key pieces. And they were desperate to get them. Not willing to say fabricate at this point, but that bullet, it certainly wasn't there. It certainly was not there, because seriously, it looks shiny, and if you know anything about concrete dust, it sticks. It's not like it sticks. You would see, and nothing that has concrete dust on it has any kind of a sheen or a shine to it. It looks dull, totally dull. And that bullet doesn't look that way, and it's actually kind of sitting on top of some of the concrete dust in there. How does it get on top of the concrete dust? If it was sitting there when the crack was jackhammered, the concrete dust would have been on top of it. So anyways. So recently, and some of you may know this, some of the other, you know, folks out there on YouTube are talking about this as well, but Ken Kratz started himself up a YouTube channel, and he's talking about how the MAM, you know, creators were basically using dishonest, you know, ways of showing the information and editing it in such a way as to make the prosecution and the state look bad. And what he offers as proof, well, one of the videos anyway, what he offers as proof is the same thing he offered a long time ago, back on Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil, whichever one it was he was on, when he played that message for everybody, which, by the way, had already been online and uploaded by Skip Top way back when, because he was getting all the transcripts and everything that was possible. He was making the full things available, not edited versions. So anyways, this recording that Ken Kratz is now claiming that the filmmakers are dishonest, well, it's been around. It's been there. It's you know, it's not like he's the first one to bring it out. Here's my point. He's trying to say that in that full version that you don't hear in MAM, you hear Teresa saying that she doesn't know, she doesn't have an address, she doesn't know where she's going, and she's going to need that in order to be able to, you know, to come there and take a picture of the vehicle. Well, that's where Ken Kratz paints it as, oh, see, she didn't know where she was going. She was being lured. She was being deceived. And, you know, all these things that he's trying to say. And she was scared, he says. He constantly says, and she was scared. Okay? It's not true. It's not true. Okay? First of all, you got to ask yourself, Kratz, if she didn't know where she was going, how did she get there? I mean, you're saying she got murdered at Avery Salvage, right, Kratz? So, if she didn't know where she was going, how did she get there? Okay, anyways, that's besides the point. That's just like basic logic right off the bat when you hear Ken Kratz say this. Basic, boom, 101. logic, right? Okay. Now, we're going to add the transcript. We're going to add, well, it's not a transcript. It's a piece of the investigative reports here that you're going to see. And it's basically where you see the account of an investigator who's talking to somebody who's telling you that Teresa knew where she was going. She knew who lived there and resided there. And there was multiple houses on the Avery Road. And she was actually joking, or, you know, or I guess they were talking about, they joke around about the fact that, you know, when she went there one time, Stephen answered the door in a towel or whatever. So this document talks about them joking. Okay? This does not suggest fear. This does not suggest fear. And this is what Ken Kratz is trying to say. So here's my point in bringing all this up. Right? Is that because I probably wouldn't have, but Ken Kratz is sitting there trying to say they're misrepresenting. They're misrepresenting. Ken, what are you doing? You're going to see this document. A lot of people are passing this document around right now. You know, I've been posting this document and videos for over 5 months now. Okay? Maybe they left that part out because the fact is she eventually did know where she was going. And she eventually did go there willingly because, as you're going to see, the reports show that's what happened. So here, let me show you. So you can see here what I'm talking about, folks. This here is from the investigation reports. Some person has put Don over the name Higgs, but anyways, Higgs attempted to call Halbach and left a message. Halbach called back to the office when Higgs was out for lunch. Higgs called Halbach again in the afternoon and spoke to Halbach, who stated that she was on her way to the Avery property to take the photo that had been previously requested that morning. Halbach was aware that the Avery brothers lived on the property where she was traveling and told Higgs that the family owned 2 or 3 houses on the same road. Halbach and Higgs had joked about the past basically when Stephen had come out in the towel, which Kratz likes to talk about. But when Kratz talks about it, she's scared. Anyway, generally when you're scared of somebody, you don't joke about it. But I don't know, that's just my thoughts. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. I just thought it was ironic that the 2 of the biggest deceivers are calling out, you know, the makers of MAM as deceiving people, which, yeah, the irony in that is just amazing. So I just, you know, wanted to go ahead and say something about it, obviously. You know, Fassbender, I have so many issues with him. The fact that he was holding evidence in his own personal custody, that just doesn't sit well with me. And it won't sit well with me. Obviously, you know, the state of Wisconsin doesn't give a damn what I think, but the fact of the matter is that it doesn't sit well with me. It seems very deliberate and ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. And then there's Kratz, you know, now trying to say that the filmmakers are misrepresenting it. No, actually, they didn't. By leaving that part out of that message, Kratz, they actually were basically putting out something that might have misled people. They were actually leaving out something that might have misled people. Do you get that? Because the fact of the matter is in the investigation reports, we know she wasn't scared. She knew where she was going. She knew who lived there. I don't know what else to say. So, that's about it for this one, folks. We'll see you guys. This is Eric Jose from the new studio. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.